It's your song. I'm glad it's your song. That's awesome.
And the song that you posted today.
You have the mic, sir?
Yes, y'all. That is Philippe, Blip, Baloop, that joint from Black Bone featuring my co-host who is here again, Funky, fresh in the flesh. K Joy, welcome back to the TP Lab show. We missed you for a couple of weeks, girl.
Thank
You know that?
you. I missed you all too. It's
Did you
good to
for
be
real?
back. It's great to be back.
Great. Right. So is everything good with you now as far as
It's getting better.
It's getting better?
It's getting better.
Okay,
Yeah.
hope the Lord heard the prayers and felt the prayers coming your way, you know what I'm saying?
He did.
For the fam. Cool.
He
cool.
did. I'm getting better. One day at a time, right?
All right, one day at a time. Okay, well, I want to say welcome to tuning in. Thank you for tuning in again to another episode of the TP Live show on IntellectualRadio.com, iHeartRadio.com, and I have a very special guest. All my guests are special, but this guest is very timely, right on time to me because I love film. I'm an African American, and I love African American film and filmmakers, which is what my guest is today, Mr. Lawrence Lee Wallace. Welcome to the show, man.
Welcome.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
Thank you.
Glad to be here. Thank
All
you.
right, all right. Now, before I get deep into it, I just want to mention that this past weekend, when I was at home with the baby, we were watching PBS television, and they were doing their fundraiser drive like they do kind of often, and they were showing snippets of a series. I forget the name of it right now, but it was really about the evolution of blacks in America from the slave trade when we were set free till now to Obama being in the White House. And they got to a certain, I think I was watching in like in the 1930s era. They mentioned the Harlem Renaissance, and they also mentioned when African Americans were first beginning to express their creativity and their own art, for the first time since slavery, showing that we are an artistic presence in America. This is what we do, how we do it. And then they also mentioned Oscar Micheaux, probably the first biggest African American, black, colored, we were colored back then, filmmaker in America. So I was geeked. I was like, that's great because I'm getting ready to have an African American filmmaker on my show this week coming up from my hometown, man. So thanks so much for showing up.
All right, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I'm curious, what I asked this because I know many people that are in film. I know many who are trying to put films out and having issues, little struggles, and some are having a pretty nice, smooth ride with it. But what made you choose to be a filmmaker? Because I know it is not an easy thing to do, just based on my own observation.
Yeah, no, it's not easy, but anything worth doing is worth a challenge. I like years ago, I was, like most people, when you get to a certain age, you try to figure out what your calling is, and in the beginning, I thought my calling, and I tried to do that. I tried to sing.
I didn't even know that, and I've known you for years.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow.
Right, yeah. And, and I can't sing.
You sure about that?
I'm positive.
Okay, well, I take your word for it. I take it. So we take his word
At least
for
he
it.
knows his limitations, unlike some
Right.
people who want to sing and cannot sing and continue to try to do it.
Right, exactly. And that was the thing. And then, and it was amazing because, I stopped singing. I gave it up because I understood that wasn't my calling, and what was calling to me and what always drew me was television and film.
Right.
That was the thing that always, and I kind of got into doing music just because it was like the 80s and everybody and 90s and everybody else was doing it, but like film and television, that was what was, actually pulling me.
Okay.
And, when God has something for you, he's going to lead you to that, and he's gonna push other stuff out of the way.
There you go.
You know, like he's not gonna let you get distracted. You know, and he's gonna say like, nah, dude, this ain't for you. I got this for you over here. So that's
Amen.
So that's basically what was happening with me, and it was, getting into film and getting into television. It was pretty easy for me to get into it. It was easy to get into it. It was, very effortless to kind of, learn because I enjoyed it. It was something I enjoyed, something I felt comfortable with, something that was very therapeutic for me. And from there, it just kind of grew into a profession.
I got you. So it seems like it was a calling if it was almost effortless. You know what I mean? So that's like a calling. You don't want to say I'm grateful that there was no auto tunes in the 80s because you probably would have had a fake singing career.
Exactly.
Like I'm now. You know what I'm saying?
Milli Vanilli.
Okay.
Right.
Single.
Well, I ain't talk about the ones I could find in the top 10 right now. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool. Thank God there was no auto tunes back then. You probably had a record. Okay, let me shut up. So I'm glad you were pulled into film. I'm glad of that. I'm very, very glad of that. Though, you know. So, what's your first project? Was it your first film project, feature film, or was it more like something smaller, the television? Talk to me about that.
Well, before you answer that, I want to interject before you go into that. Can you tell us how long you've been filmmaking, and then tell us when your first film was made?
Yeah, let's do it like that.
For I want to say the better part of like 15 years. Yeah,
that's awesome.
For about 15 years, and my first film, I acting. Okay, I was an actor, just an actor, and I did a lot of theater stuff. I did like Shakespeare, and August Wilson plays, things like that. And then I wrote. I was always a writer, right? So I moved into writing stuff for myself, because it, got to a point whereas like opportunities kind of stopped coming in for me. I did like a lot of commercial stuff and a lot of promo stuff, and I did a little bit of modeling too back then when I was young and tight.
You still tight? You still kind of young? No, I'm just joking.
His wife say so.
Right.
That's all that matters.
That's the only thing that counts, right? And the opportunities kind of started slowing down, so I wanted to make opportunities for myself. So I started writing my own, short plays and putting them on myself. And I started taking like short workshops and directing and things like that. And I created a sketch comedy series called Urban Scenes.
That was my favorite. That's how I met him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw it on the internet.
Yeah.
I saw it on the internet, and it was hilarious. I was crying, laughing, and I know it takes a lot to make me tear up and just tears running down my face from laughing so hard.
That funny.
Yeah, it was that funny.
So I'm embarrassed.
I was showing other people.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever told you that. I was running around showing everybody your comedy sketches because I was like, you got to see this. This is so hilarious. It was awesome, and it made me reach out to him.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we met on MySpace.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
That's right. Because I reached out to him after seeing the comedy sketches because I said I have to meet this guy. He's hilarious. I have a cousin who was a comedian, so it just struck me, and I like comedy.
Well, let me ask: are those available still on the internet?
They're available on Amazon. Still.
Okay,
yeah,
all right. Yeah, I have to check it out because I'm behind. School me on something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, they were really popular back then, and that
wasn't it on a cable show too at some point?
It was supposed to be on cable, but it was too racy for cable.
Okay.
And they wouldn't air, but I did get it on Netflix.
Okay.
All right.
It was on Netflix. I got a 3-year deal with Netflix. It was on Netflix from 2007 to 2009.
All right.
Now, how many people can say that they've been on Netflix?
Yeah. I mean, there are major television shows trying to get on Netflix and they won't let them on.
Exactly.
Seriously, what I mean?
That's a serious accomplishment.
And that's a testament to how you said again. It was kind of easy because it was you were doing it out of love as well.
Right.
So
yeah.
again, it's a calling because a lot of people are having a hard time trying to do those things that you're doing right
Well,
now.
it's really different now than it was back then.
I got you.
Like back then, how I got my distribution deal, because I had because Urban Scenes, it was at Netflix, it was at Walmart, it was at Target,
All
you know, Borders, when Borders was open back then, it was in all those little stores, and it was a lot more open to, the industry was a lot more open to independent filmmakers, you know, and I got my deal through a film festival, you know. Nowadays, a lot of the film festivals, they don't really cater to the independents anymore. They cater to already established, you know, and more larger name directors, producers.
So then maybe
actors.
You should start your own film festival for independent filmmakers. Hint, hint, hint.
Wow. You said it right here on the TP Live show. Wow.
I did. If it blows up, don't forget the little people.
Yeah.
She did.
Just saying.
Yeah, girl. Right, because you've already started your own film company, right? Production company.
Logical progression.
Yeah. What is the name of your film company again?
D Production Studios.
D Production Studios. Well, so what do you think that reason may be? The fact that the film festivals aren't catering to independents anymore. What do you have any opinion about why that may be the case? Money.
You know, yeah, it's money. You know, the bigger, you know, so nowadays that's how films are bought and sold, through film festivals. You know, so some of the more established producers and directors, they're taking advantage of that. You know, and they're taking advantage of it in the worst possible way, because they have the money and the resources to create, you know, these films and then sell them for like, you know, $20 million and, you know, get it on, you know, Netflix and, you know, Amazon, you know, whoever, Fox Searchlight, whoever, you know, but the local filmmaker, you know, just, we don't really have a whole lot of options anymore like we used to, you know, like the local filmmaker, you know, for a time, it was more about the substance of the story and what the story was about and, you know, what it was giving to the audience, you know, where now, at least with Black filmmakers, you know, it's all about the style and the look and what star is in it, and not the story anymore.
Wow. Yes.
That's a shame.
Mm-hmm. So that means the independent film industry for Black filmmakers are still kind of being dictated to in a way, or shaped by the mainstream because of what they will choose to finance or choose at the film festivals. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nowadays, you know, at going to a film festival, taking your project to a film festival is pretty much the equivalent of pitching it to a studio. You know, there's not a lot of difference anymore. You know, there's really no line there anymore. You know, it's you would be hard pressed to find another She's Gotta Have It, you know, or another Clerks. You know, those two films were 100% independent. You know, no big studio money behind them, no major stars. You know, they just did a good movie, and it did all the festivals, and it did really well, and it came out in theaters. And now Spike Lee and Kevin Smith, you know, they're huge directors now.
Right.
You know, because back then, that's what the film festivals were for. It was for discovering new talent. You know, now it's basically, well, not all of them, but most of the big film festivals, therefore, kind of
finding a new hit, the next big thing. Is that what it is?
Right,
more so than
just
talent.
Right, exactly. Just finding a new hit.
Yeah.
It's almost, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the music industry in terms of remember back in the day, they had an A&R department. They had an A&R executive who would develop the talent. Now they're searching around just to find somebody who's already has the finished product so they can get the next hit that's already done and they don't have to do any work. And then they sign you to this crazy 360 deal and take all your money.
Right.
And that's, to me, that's what it reminds me of.
And those two things kind of flipped around the same time.
Exactly. And I was just about to say that. I would venture to say, even though I don't know for sure with the film industry, but I was just about to ask you, do you feel like it happened at the same time? And I don't know about you, but I'm curious as to what your opinion is in terms of what does that say about our society?
I love that question. Ooh, I'm so jealous I didn't ask that, but go ahead. Yeah.
Well,
that's heavy.
Well, right now for entertainment, especially Black entertainment, the bar set really low. Like how I was saying before, how I was trying to sing back then and I couldn't sing, and people let me know I couldn't sing. So I was like, okay, I need to listen to these people. I can't sing. Let me just stop it. Now, if I try to sing today, I could probably get a record deal.
You can not probably.
Yes,
you can make it.
Yes, sir.
I'd probably get a record deal today.
Or no one would tell you that you couldn't actually sing.
Right.
It wouldn't matter.
Yeah. But back then it was like you needed to know how to sing.
Yeah.
Right.
You needed to have some real vocals. They didn't care about your looks.
Right.
They didn't care if you were light skinned and long hair.
Yeah.
But they didn't care about none of that. Can you sing?
Right.
That was it. Do you have good lip? Can you write music?
Yeah.
That's what the music industry was. But then it flipped. It became more about style than about substance.
Right.
Same way with the film industry. And you said it kind of happened. Both kind of flipped around the same time. So so the bar set really low right now for film and for music. Unfortunately.
Yes.
And there isn't people. I guess people are just kind of used to it now.
Yeah.
People don't really listen to lyrics of music anymore. They listen to music for the beat.
Right.
And when people watch, a film, they're not really watching for the story. They're watching for the special effects.
And I'm also going to tell you
for the pretty actors.
Exactly. Yeah. I was getting ready to say, I can also tell you from family I know and friends, I could be watching a movie on television. It's good. I'm getting into it. The plot is nice, or it's action packed, or whatever. Or the drama is just pulling you in. But somebody may say, "So, what's that you watching? Oh, this is such and such, such and such. Who plays in it? Some actors. Who plays in the movie? Who's the big name star? There's no big name stars. It's just a good movie. Now you watching some bull. Just get out of. You watching some bull crap because there's no mainstream actor in it. Because again, like you just said, they're looking for the pretty actors or just name actors, name brand actors, and that I guess. Well, I'm just assuming the industry that's kind of shaping it that way a little bit, or just going for the basic film fan, just the common denominator of all basic of entertainment, just like the music, the beat only, or the flashy name brand actor only, and the plot or the quality of the writing, whatever, that's last, But my opinion, and I'm not even in the film industry, but my opinion is, I see. At the same time, well, I'll just relate it to music, to music and how I think film could probably do this. So you may be one of the guys that are doing it. We'll find that out in a minute. But I would say there was a period of maybe the mid 2000s, when the Dirty South, not to diss it, because I like a lot of the Dirty South, especially back in the early days of that, when like the No Limit and Swab House, that kind of thing. But there was a time when, for a period, everything was just a beat and a hook, a hook and a chant only, And I was like, well, I don't think I can dig this no more, because there's no really input and work put into good creativity anymore. But I would say now, I think it's kind of evolved to a period where there is still a lot of that, but at the same time, there are people who have kind of got weary of that a little bit, and it kind of putting a good mesh of hot beats, top level production technology still with some skills involved. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of happening a little bit now. I see a mini movement coming up in the music industry that there's a kind of a mesh of it a little bit. And I think if someone in film could capitalize off the pretty fluffiness of it, but at the same time with a solid story, solid writing, solid acting, they can still pull it off. And I'm looking at you as a guy that can, not that you aren't doing it already, you know, that you also were acting first. I kind of wondering, do you feel like coming from just acting first and small and writing small things as you did back in the day before you got to the level you're at now, do you think that kind of helped mold you into a person that has really all the aspects covered to really do it at a level that it should be done as a Black independent filmmaker from Chicago? That was a long question, but did you get what I was saying?
Yeah, I got you. No, definitely. I mean, you know, paying your dues works.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, that's, you know, why I think that I have a pretty good rapport with actors in Chicago, because I was an actor at one time, so I understand what they're going through and how they're feeling. You know, and you know, I took acting lessons, you know, and I went to film school. I graduated, you know, from Full Sail University with a degree in film. You know, so you know, I know, you know, all the motions. You know,
He graduated. Excuse me, let me interject. He graduated at the top of his class, ladies and gentlemen.
Boom! Oh, you didn't have to.
I'm
hold
a
back
Full Sail
on that.
alumni too, but I know that little.
Oh yeah, I got some educated cats on my show, baby. That's heavy.
Yeah,
well,
so,
congrats on that, man.
Thank you. Yeah. So definitely, you know, learning, you know, and I'm still learning. You know, I still.
And he's teaching. He's an instructor at a film school. I'm sorry. I just couldn't wait to. So we can't help it.
We have two instructors in the house. We have two instructors in the house right now. That's heavy. Talk to me about that. Okay. Well, I want to you shouldn't have brought it up. I want to hear it. I'm nosy now. I mean, where are you teaching and how did you?
I teach video production at Illinois Media Schools downtown, formerly Illinois Center for Broadcasting.
Yeah. All right.
And from teaching, I'm learning a lot.
Still.
Right. About, you know, film and about, you know, just the process. You know, so you know, you never stop learning.
Right.
You know, you never stop. You always, there's always something new to learn. There's always something more out there for you to make you better at what you do.
Okay.
I agree. I have another question. What did you think about what happened recently with the Academy?
Oh,
that's a loaded question.
Yeah. Okay.
The Oscars so white.
Yes, and shutting out African Americans. Like, you know, it just really is unnerving that year after year after year, excellent films and, you know, excellent actors and excellent directors and producers and filmmakers are slighted. And it's blatant and obvious.
Yeah.
And but yet they'll give you an award. And I'm not taking anything away from Halle Berry, but there were films that were much, much better than Monster Ball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you don't, how many films did Denzel Washington play in that were phenomenal films, but you give him an Oscar for portraying a bad guy. And so what does that say to our children who want to be potential actors? And what does it say to potential filmmakers that are of color? It's just really disturbing. I didn't watch it this year because I was boycotting for that reason, even though I'm not a filmmaker. But it made me really angry. So how did you feel about that?
Well, I wasn't surprised. I mean, I've never been into award shows. I've really never watched the Oscars. I think the only time I've ever watched the Oscars was when Halle and Denzel won. I think that's the only award show that ever.
Wow, that's interesting.
Oscars. Because I mean, how like the Academy Awards, they weren't created for us in the first place. You know, it's just,
I can
you know,
dig that.
Hollywood, you know, like when Hollywood was created, they didn't know that we would be where we are right now. They didn't know that African American people would be the force, the entertainment force that we are.
Yes.
And the consumer.
Right, and a consumer, exactly, and a consumer force and a box office draw that we are. And a lot of them still have a tough time accepting that we are.
Yep.
So it's like the Academy and the Grammys too. That's like their last little kind of string of control. With it. Is not acknowledging our achievements.
Right, the Jim Crow of film and the Jim Crow of music.
Right, exactly.
That's really what it is.
So, I've I said this before Jada even said it. I said it like not last year, but year before last at the Academy Awards. I'm like, let them do them. Like, so what? We can honor ourselves.
You know what? I feel you. Can I piggyback on that real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're the only person I've ever spoken to that has that opinion, because I have the same opinion, because again, if you know the history of Hollywood, like you said, they didn't have us in mind. It wasn't started by us. So I'm not really that. The only time and I'm not just saying it because you said it, the only time I've ever watched the Oscars also was when they made a big deal about Denzel and Holly, I still call her Holly. Anyway, that's the hood in me. And I think that same year, Will Smith may have been the following year. I think Will Smith was nominated for Ali. I think that may have been the same year. And so I've only watched that year's Oscars because they made such a big deal about it. But I never watched the Oscars either. And it wasn't really, believe it or not, a boycott because of how we are represented. It was really because the movies I like are never nominated. White, black, Asian, whatever, because I'm a kung fu movie fan. I like superhero movies. I like Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, or one of the most talented although he's an A-lister, but one of the most talented slept on guys I still feel in the film industry is Eddie Murphy. And he's never had any kind of nod except for I think the Dreamgirls thing, but as far as when he was putting serious creativity with the many roles he was playing, all those, so because they didn't acknowledge that kind of thing. And again, I would say it wasn't really about the African American aspect as far as the lack of showing us in diverse roles. It was really because I don't like their opinions anyway. You know what I'm saying? And to go back to something Will Smith said, which amazes me how Jada Pinkett was boycotting at this time, because when people were making a big deal about how he didn't get nominated, he didn't win for Ali, Will Smith said himself, because at least I didn't hear him say it, but I read an article, he said, well, if we have such a problem with who gets an Oscar or a Grammy or whatever, come up with your own award shows and give your own people awards, which is just what you said. That's how my opinion has always been, because like it or not, the people who started Hollywood, they paid their dues. They laid down the groundwork, however they paid it, whether it was legal or illegal, or whether they shot somebody, whatever they did, they paid their dues. And so we are begging them to give us a shake in something they started. Now, the only problem that I do have, that I'm going to shut up, is here it is, 2015, 2016, and Hollywood still purposely misrepresents history as far as how our role in historical events like the Bible and those kind of things, and in Egypt and Nina Simone, and you still got pale people playing Egyptians when a 12-year-old kid can do enough research and tell you they were dark-skinned people. Right. So that may be an issue I have. So again, I just won't watch the movies until you keep putting out the movies I like. But I will go see Batman and Superman this weekend. I don't care about that. I'm going to see that one. I don't care what y'all say. But anyway, but I like your opinion on that, though.
Have you ever considered creating your own award show for local film?
No, I haven't. I never thought about.
Would you consider that?
I might.
I just feel you were talking about earlier about how if you're trying to do something that you really shouldn't be doing, doors will shut and God will make it so that you go the other way.
Right.
In the path that you're supposed to take, which reminds me of that scripture, my steps are ordered by the Lord.
Mm.
And I feel like you are an unsung filmmaker in terms of not enough people in my mind should know about you. You know, people know about you, but I mean, like, I feel that you should be bigger than what you are.
I do too.
and so maybe that could be a platform for not only your films to become more widely known and widely celebrated, but also the filmmakers that we were mentioning before, the various different filmmakers that you're friends with. Mm-hmm. You all collectively get together, but maybe you be the person to spearhead it, because obviously nobody's come up with it. You're thinking it, he's thinking it, I'm thinking it. And I'm sure other people are thinking it, but no one has stepped forward to say, you know what, let's stop talking about creating our own award shows. Let's stop talking about how the film festivals shut us out. Let's create our own film festival and let's create our own award show. And it could be a Deep Productions, venture.
I'm almost sure it's going to happen right now, just hearing you speak about it. I'm almost sure it's
can't make him. I'm just trying to push the idea this way and make him think about it.
I think it's going to happen.
Because I think if enough people got together, you could really make it happen if you spearhead it. You're a doer. And that's evident by how many films have you had. He's not even touched on the fact that his films have been shown in major theaters.
So let's talk about that. I want people to know about that. Let's talk about that. So let's talk about your films that have been shown. If you could just name them, run them out, tell me where they have been shown and things like that. Because people who aren't aware, they still need to find, how to check out your movies.
And the genres of the movies. Because he doesn't just keep doing the same kind of movie all the time, somewhat like a certain filmmaker does. Tyler Perry movies when you see them. There's no disrespect to Tyler Perry, but there's the same thing going on all the time. He has variety.
Yeah, but let's find out, because I want to know, and I gotta catch up with you, man. I'm so sorry. I gotta catch up, dog.
That's okay. No, but Urban Scenes, my first film, my first two feature films. So those are comedies.
Right. Okay, comedies.
Right. Yeah. So those were sketch comedy movies. Kind of like, basically, Urban Scenes was the Dave Chappelle show before there was a Dave Chappelle show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was
literally.
It was in that vein.
I think Dave Chappelle stole the idea from
probably
him.
A lot of people have ripped me off too. It's like I've been stolen from so many times, it's not even funny, but it's cool. It just shows me that my stuff is good.
There you go.
But those two films, they made it to Netflix. Like I said before, I had the 3-year with Netflix, and now they're being sold exclusively on Amazon. You can stream them, or you can buy the actual DVDs on Amazon.com right now. And then after that, I did a romantic comedy called If You Love Me.
All right.
Great.
Yeah. Romantic comedy.
Yeah, that was at the Black Harvest Film Festival. Did really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, when you say it did well, are you speaking on the reviews from the
the reviews from NBC, from I was on NBC at interview with and Leanne Trotter.
All right.
NBC. That was really exciting. That was good. And they did a little feature story on me on CLTV, and that was cool.
My man.
So that did really well. That's also on Amazon right now.
And what theater did it show in?
That was at Black Harvest.
Okay.
Yeah, that was at Black Harvest. Now my film after that, Dark Hallways. Now that was at Icon Theater, Showplace Icon Theater, where that ran. And that was a horror film.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
Dark Hallways.
Yes. Yeah.
It's that on Amazon.
That was also a great movie.
No, actually, you can find that on my YouTube page.
All right.
Deep Production Studios. So it's my YouTube page.
So
I have it on there.
So I got homework tonight there.
Right, I did the whole film festival circle with that. It was in Shriek Fest and a bunch of other horror fest. Did really well on the underground horror circuit. Like horror, the horror film genre is an amazing genre. It's like its own little kind of niche thing, and it did really well, with that.
So that's an accomplishment just based on that, because that's not easy to please as far as the horror fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I did really well. So that's available on my YouTube site, and I did a bunch of like little shorts, like you mentioned earlier. I did a political short about Trayvon Martin. It's called Dark and Quiet: The Execution of Trayvon Martin. And it was basically my own take or reenactment on what happened to the young man on the night in question. The events leading up to it, with more of a focus on the aftermath, of it, which at the time when I made the short, the reason why I made it was because, I felt that people were missing the real issue of what had happened to the young man. Is that this boy was taken from his family, and a family lost their child, but people were concentrating more on George Zimmerman,
right?
And if the little boy had smoked weed at one time in the past, and
character assassination, right, like they always do with the victims, and then they focus more on the killer than they do on the person who passed away.
Who was a superstar. Now the killer is a superstar,
right? Yeah. So the focus was more on the family that lost their child.
Okay.
Did you send that to their family, to his family?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Did they respond?
No,
back?
they didn't respond, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I made it for everyone, to see and kind of get out of their own, ideas, of what happened with that, and since you like superhero movies,
okay,
I did a Marvel short for Marvel Comics. It's called Night Thrashers, based on the Night Thrasher comic book.
Okay,
came out of the 90s.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, starring Eric Lane, guy from Trapped in the Closet. He played Twan or Trapped in the Closet.
All right.
He plays superhero Night Thrasher.
I thought you were going to talk about your websodes.
Yeah, well, that too. That's next.
You got a long list of them. There's a scroll this long with the list of your accomplishments. Okay.
Right. I did a web series called Villains,
which my son had a little teeny tiny part.
Her son Ryan.
Sounds criminal. Is it like a crime thriller or something like that?
That is a like a supernatural kind of superhero type of web series. It's a 9-episode web series that did really well, and that's on YouTube right now. Also on my YouTube site, and that also did film festival circuits, things like that, and so that I'm still developing that. I want to do something more with that. I have some ideas for it. I'm still kind of developing. I'm gonna make something happen with that still, and right now what I have going on are 2 new projects. The first one is a film that I directed for April Warren Tylon. She's the writer and producer of a film called Sunshine Day. And it's a period piece that's set in the 1970s through the 1980s. And it's about mental illness and domestic abuse. It's a drama, It's really good. It spans over like a 18-year period, 20-year period.
Okay.
Very, very dramatic. We have a lot of great actors in that film. And that premieres May 8th at Icon Theater again.
All right. And that's a great theater, by the way.
Yeah,
so I'm very impressed that you are having your showings there. I'm very, very impressed.
And what's the other project? You said 2 projects.
Yeah, so I actually am going to start filming in a couple of weeks a television pilot called The Girls and Rodney. And it's a really high concept, over the top. Going back to comedies, kind of come full circle, as you can see. So I'm doing another comedy, and it's kind of like in the vein of like Archer and Always Sunny in Philadelphia, kind
Okay.
of like that, really wacky, you know.
Which is not animation, like.
No, it's
Archer.
not. It's live action. It's a mostly female cast. Mostly female cast. You know, black women and one Latina.
I like that.
And I'm going to be shooting that in a couple of weeks and submitting that to Comedy Central and Cartoon Network.
Awesome.
Well, good luck, man.
Thank you.
So you see that? Look, comedy, horror, drama, superhero, back to comedy, romantic comedy. Yeah, he's
That's
bad.
a lot of diversity, you know, and to do it well, you know, because there is a lot of times we can see a filmmaker stretching out in different genres that they aren't used to working in, and sometimes it seems forced. You know what I mean? You know, so if you can do it well, I mean, that's a great accomplishment.
Oh, he also does something else he hasn't mentioned.
What?
He's done music videos, and he also you direct and produce the interviews for the magazine. Tell us about that.
For F-Style magazine.
Okay, no, yes.
F-Style magazine. It's owned by Marcus Pfizer. We started a segment called Industry Talk, where we talk to different people in the entertainment industry, whether they're actors, musicians, models, you know, so on and so forth. And she was on the cover.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, what is that?
I was on the cover. I was on the cover of one. That was the November issue, right? November issue was on the cover, and he filmed the Industry Talk as well.
Okay.
So you add music videos, and then you got that falls in the line. Correct me if I'm wrong, with documentaries, right?
Yes. F-Style is in the building
too. He's very, very diverse.
Man, okay.
That's a perfect word.
Are you a heavyweight already, man?
And just let me say, and I keep forgetting to tell you whenever I see you, your issue got us 20,000 readers.
What?
Yeah.
I know that is awesome.
What's up?
Like, you can count the amount of people that have read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm glad. I'm glad to be of help. You all helped me. You know, it's the first time I was on the cover. I've been in a magazine. I was actually featured on 5 magazine, who we're gonna have.
Okay.
You know, on the show soon. But then I wasn't on the cover because it was a major house music group was on the cover of 5 magazine. So that was the first time I've ever been on the cover of a magazine. I was very honored, and the outfit that I wore was created by a student at the Art Institute, and so it was an original outfit that I was wearing, and
it was a great interview too.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I saw it.
I had fun. It was a lot of fun.
So that's you. Oh man. Okay, that sounds like Swiper, but that's man.
No, you do sound. That's you're telling on yourself now,
I'm telling on
Dad.
me. I got kids.
I do have another question. What did you think of Chirac? I didn't see it because unfortunately I rented it from Redbox and it didn't work. And then I had to, I was so mad because I would, every time I would go to the box, I could never see it because it's always rented out.
Right.
And then I finally get it, and disc error, it wouldn't play. So I have to go back and try to rent it again because I can only do that on weekends.
You know it's on Amazon now.
No, I didn't know it was on Amazon.
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
But I didn't want to buy it because I've heard
on Amazon now.
Oh, it's free?
Yeah.
Okay, because I've heard it's on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
Okay, because I have Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I think it's free on Amazon Prime.
Okay, because I've heard mixed reviews. Some people love it, and some people absolutely hate it. And there doesn't seem to be anybody that's in between. What did you think of that?
I didn't hate it. It just it wasn't a Chicago film.
Why? Please explain why.
Because someone from New York made it.
No. But I mean, I know the fact that it wasn't a Chicago film, but can you go in deeper about why you didn't hate it, but why didn't you necessarily love it?
Well, so
aside from the fact that it wasn't a Chicago,
right? It wasn't a for me. It wasn't. It wasn't real. I get what Spike Lee was trying to do.
It was a satire.
Right? Yeah, and I get that, and I understand with him being from the outside looking in. why he would try to go that route, you know. But I think that's, you know, the reason why it kind of fell short, because it's not a satire for us.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was waiting for someone to say that. I was waiting for
Yeah.
somebody to actually bring
Yeah.
that to light, because that's what was bugging me. Every time I would see him doing interviews, it was ticking me off. What would make you want to do that in the first place? This is not something this whole situation is not satirical. So why are you doing that?
And let me add from just based on how you was talking about not being real. I didn't see it either, but I will tell you something. We know that a trailer should be enough to either make you want to see the movie or not want to see the movie. And I've just by the trailer, I've watched the trailer quite a few times because I've liked many of his movies in the past, and I wanted to support, especially being from Chicago, about Chicago that is. And I was very not impressed by the trailer, very unimpressed. It didn't seem authentic. I didn't see anything culturally that showed Chicago from just the trailer itself. And how you said it's not satire made me think, but he did a movie about Brooklyn or New York, Do the Right Thing. Those kind of movies, which I don't live there, but I would assume they probably had a better realistic cultural representation of their town because it was done by someone that lives there. So why disrespect Chicago on a topic that's more serious? We're losing people who are losing babies, children, husbands, wives. Still, and you're gonna make a joke about it over sex. I'm gonna withhold sex. I see girls egging people on to do these violent acts. So how the H you gonna make a movie that you just gonna withhold sex from somebody and that's gonna make a point? Really, you don't know these chicks that's behind. Anyway. But yeah, let me calm down.
Maybe I shouldn't
but
have
yeah,
asked that question.
no, but it's cool. No. But you know, I just had to get that out. But you were asked the question, so
well, you know, and just to, you know, give you guys and all the intellectual radio, you know, listeners, I guess call it a scoop, but a much better alternative is coming.
Okay,
good.
That's
because I actually directed the pilot for Shy Life television series.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
And that is written and produced by Bill Pierce and co-produced by Roger Jackson and Old Company. And I can't, you know, really give out too much information,
right?
You know,
it's
on
proprietary.
It, but
disclosure.
but that series, it's a very real and accurate and a better approach to what's going on in Chicago, a much realer approach, and it comes at it from all sides. It comes at it from the street side. It comes at it from the educational side. It comes at the political side.
Great.
Yeah. And when it comes out, I think that
Good.
All right. Well, I won't force you to say any more about it, but I can't wait. I want you to talk about that for another hour, but we're just going to take a word on that. Right. You know, that's what I'm talking about.
I just have one last question. I'm sorry.
Now go ahead, baby girl.
These are all the questions that I've always wanted to ask you, Lawrence, as long as we're friends. He's a very, very dear friend. So yeah. My last question for you: is there anything that you still have, any genre or any type of film that you really, really, really want to make, and it's on your bucket list to make, and you just got to do it, and you're going to do it, maybe if it's 10 years down the road or however long, but you're going to do this because you haven't done it yet, but you're ready to tackle it?
science fiction.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I want to do Star Wars type space epic with a
Black people.
predominantly
Yes,
That's what
yes, I love it.
I've actually written one, and
I'm getting
gonna try to, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna figure out a way to get the budget for it, get the money.
I cannot wait for that. You heard it first
Yeah.
on IntellectualRadio.com
on the TP
on the
Live
TP
show.
Live show with host K Joy.
History.
You heard it
Yup.
here, folks.
Yes, y'all. Man, I can't wait. I can't wait. I
So
see it already.
He needs to, before we go, he needs to tell us again when that movie is premiering and where and address if you have it or any other information.
Yeah, Sunshine
Cost
Day.
of the tickets.
Yeah, Sunshine Day, May 8th, 5:30 at Icon Theater on Roosevelt, downtown. Showplace Icon Theater, Roosevelt, downtown. If you go to the Facebook page, Sunshine Day, the
Which
movie,
Facebook page?
Sunshine Day, the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sunshine Day, the movie. It's open on this Facebook fan page. You can get ticket information on how you can buy tickets. Yeah, now it's almost sold out, actually. So, yeah, they sold out really fast. So, go.
All right.
If you can.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're doing
Thank
that. We're doing that. Okay, well, I hate to kick you out of here, but I have a personal question to ask before we get out because there's nothing. It has something to do, but I'm just nosy. So, since we're talking about film, you and you, is there any movie that you can say was so good it almost changed your life that you've seen or made you want to just feel like this is my movie? I know it from backwards, from beginning to end, backwards and forwards with my eyes closed.
Yes, Black Dynamite.
Yeah, Carol. Yeah.
Favorite movie of all
Are you serious?
time.
Black
That's
Dynamite.
A major production.
I've
I'm
only
not taking
seen that
anything away from
once.
my favorite movie of yours is kind of If You Love Me and Dark Hallways tied. Those two tied, but Black Dynamite for sure.
I'm gonna say The Matrix, the first one.
Yeah.
That was my second choice.
Oh, y'all still tough as you know what I'm saying? I was gonna say Chris Groove and Purple Rain, but that's okay. You know what I mean? All right, y'all. But so you have so much to talk about. You share so much. I kind of want to see if maybe later on, once the film is just hitting and kicking, if we could maybe have you back sometime in the future.
Absolutely.
You think we can do that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you coming down, Mr. Lawrence Wallace. One of the, I'm going to call him a great filmmaker. He is. You just don't know it yet, but you will. You know what I'm saying? Great filmmaker, Lawrence Wallace, on the TP Live Show, IntellectualRadio.com. Catch us again next week, Tuesday, 8 a.m. Can you dig it? And we're going to close out with a little music, you know what I'm saying? Like right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was great.
That was great.
Thanks, man. Y'all so easy. I love you.